Hello everyone, my name is Metavoxel, and today we're doing a Voxelsniper tutorial series. If you don't know what Voxelsniper is essentially a tool for what's considered terraforming. Terraforming allows you to create mountains, caves, pretty much any landscape that you can think of. And it can do some other cool things as well. Beaches, pretty much anything you can imagine geography-wise, Voxelsniper is for. Now, this is very important because a lot of time, if you're like an adventure map creator or server map creator, you come onto a server on a flat land and you're like, it's just all flat land. Let's create a server. What do? That's what Voxelsniper is for, to give you essentially a palette and the landscape to build all your creations off of. So, anyways, let's get started here. So first off, you have your lovely arrow. This is essentially this is what does the main brush command, and then the gunpowder just does the opposite. So if this breaks blocks, this will create blocks. If this creates blocks, this will break blocks. That kind of thing. You'll kind of see that as we go later on in the tutorial. But that's just something to note. So let's get started here with some commands. So essentially, let's teach you the kind of the basic commands of actual Voxelsniper. So first off, what you're gonna have is you're gonna do /b. /b stands for brush. So if I do /b, that's essentially what's called. Actually, wait. Let's see. I already have something set to my brush, so to get rid of that, I'm gonna do /d. /d resets your brush. I recommend just doing that every time you want to start fresh. So anyways, B is what's called a that'll give me a ball brush. So it's like brush ball. Just think /b brush ball. You kind of just use one letter abbreviations for everything in Voxelsniper, or 2 letters. So you have this ball brush, right? And it's not gonna do anything but create air, and I mean that's cool if you want to do that, but you don't want to create just big air pockets. So if you do something wrong in Voxelsniper, just use /u, and that'll undo everything you do. So /u is a good command to always remember. Remember, it's like world edit. If you're experienced with world edit, it can only roll back so far. Depending on the server settings and stuff. So if you do too much, you might not be able to roll all of it back, so just be careful of that. And there are also a few brushes that you actually can't undo, which if I ever use them, I'll definitely point that out, because that's a big thing. Especially if you do like one of those brushes and do it like over a 300 radius, kind of want if you can't undo that, that's kind of disastrous. Anyways, so now how do we make it so it's actually making a ball of materials? So that's what's called /v. /v stands for voxel, which is essentially the block type. So you can either put the ID, or you can put, and some items will allow you just to let you enter the actual name, like world edit. So v stone, or you can just do v1. Either of those work, right? And now, as you can see, we will create these stone balls, right? So that's cool, right? So you essentially want to use this ball brush. You can create small mountains. This is kind of the most basic way to create landscape. There are other brushes that you do on top of this to make it look nicer, but this is how I create the basic shapes of my mountains. Usually is with a ball brush. So once you can do that. Now if you want to change the brush size, then you do /b and then enter the number you want. So if we want to make it size 10, there you go. Now we have ball size 10, and that's a lot bigger. We can voxel that and make mountains. Notice though, if I ever do B25, it'll say warning, large brush size selected. So something to watch out for is you do not want to have that error, because unless you have like a super awesome CPU or super awesome like computer that you're running your own server off of, or you're running a really good server that's hosted, you know, like probably like quad core, 10 gigs of RAM, something like that, then you probably don't want to go anywhere near 25 or even 20. I would say brush size 15 for most people and most servers is what you're going to want to be the largest size that you use. I wouldn't really recommend larger than that. If you are using larger than that, consider using World Edit instead of Voxelsniper if you're trying to create a large area. But yeah, that's just something to watch out for here. So that's pretty much the basics of kind of having a brush. So let's go over some more brushes here. We've seen the ball brush. So now let's do /BV. That's the voxel brush, and that'll create just a large square. So that's cool. So circle, square, so /BV /BD, and then we have /BD, and that's brush disc. This essentially just makes a huge disc. Nothing fancy. I usually use this to paint the grounds. I use this dish brush since it's only one high. But if I want to paint flat land with a different color, then I'll usually do that. I mean, sometimes you can do a World Edit too, but sometimes Voxel's faster for that. So, you know, you can just paint in a bunch of sandstone or a bunch of like gravel or something like that. I usually use the disc brush for that kind of stuff. So that's cool. Let's see. What else can we go over here? Brush disc. Let's check the wiki here. I'm going to put the wiki in the description below for all of this. Alright, we're back. So let's keep going over these brushes here. So the disc brush. Then we also have the DF, which is the disc face brush. Kind of the same thing here, but instead of just doing it on ground, I can also do, let's change the voxel here to grass. You can do essentially the disc facing like a wall or an object. You're gonna do a disc here on the side instead of just being to do it on flat land, because if you use just a disc brush on the ground, then or if you use just a disc brush, you only apply it like a flat disc to the ground, and it'll only be let's see, let me show you here. You do it to the side of a wall. Oops, got some lag here. Lag. Yeah, sometimes a few boxes will be crazy. Oh, turn it out there. To essentially demonstrate the point of this, so if I do /BD, oops. Let's see. So essentially only do a brush like this on the side of this, as opposed to actually doing it on the face of the wall. So just something small to note if you're using a disc brush. And then let's see, you also have the, I guess, I don't know, I usually don't find this one very helpful, but hey, if you want to use it, let's see, what is it, VDF. Let's see. So if I do, let's do a brush size smaller. Essentially this will act like the voxel brush, but it'll apply it a square shape. Oh, never mind. Actually, I don't really use this brush, but essentially this will allow you to apply a square shape to the side of a wall. So if you want to paint squares or do something square-like, it's kind of like the disc face brush, but squares instead of circles. And then you also have /B, the voxel checker disc brush, which kind of makes a checker shape. Let's see, let's do V4 here. Let me show you. essentially allow you to make really cool checkered patterns really quickly. So if you really want a checkered pattern, I don't know, you can do something like this and then replace all the grass with another color, and there you go. You have a whole repeating pattern. And you know, sometimes for a floor pattern this is pretty simple and pretty easy to do, so I recommend doing that if you're trying to make a nice floor pattern. Very easy thing to do there. And that's all your shape brushes, at least, to go over. That's kind of what you need to start off with here.